iDiski TV powered by World Sports Betting. iDiski Times, the Pirates beating Polokwane City, as if, of course, we did not expect that. We did expect that. What we did not expect was a performance in midfield that was so bright, it was so colorful, it was delightful to watch. It was not as if seeing two centre backs pretending to play midfield. For the first time in a long time, Orlando Pirates sees the importance of playing midfielders who can pass the ball forward. That was really bright. That was literally what we saw illuminating the first half of the game. Maybe Polokwane City will be happy with themselves in the second half because they kind of brought themselves back into the game. Maybe they could have scored one, but fully deserved for Orlando Pirates. They move on to the semi-finals of the MTN 8. In fact, Orlando Pirates are the best performing team in this competition for the last 4 or 5 years. They won this competition in the last 5 years 4 times. They've just missed out maybe once in a quarterfinal in the last 5 years. The other 4 years, they've won the tournament against Bloemfontein Celtic in the final, against Mamelodi Sundowns in the final, against Stellenbosch in the final, and so on and so forth. So well done to Orlando Pirates. They continue their dominance in this competition. Lindo Pep, our analyst, what did you make of the game, sir? I'm looking at your hairline, new hairstyle, new season. Lovely to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Mr. Nkeo. Let me greet the team. New hairstyle, new season. It's going to be a long one. AFCON year, World Cup year. Tingbulisa no TK Jada. I hope you're well, Mr. Nkeo, as well. Congratulations to Aduslam Wadu. Congratulations to Orlando Pirates. But Nkulego, for me, before we even get into the game, there were 2 things that I wanted to see. It was the Orlando Pirates' new look midfield and the variation in terms of the attacking players. I was interested to see Uguti, what will happen to our police, what will happen to Rilem Fukeng in terms of a variation in terms of their attack. Because we know the quality that our police has. He can cross from deep. He's very dangerous. I think one of his best qualities is he's got variation in terms of skills that he can possess closer to the box. We've seen that he's very deadly in terms of quick combination. He can take shots outside the box. I think he's got technique. And I think his decision making is improving. Urile, we know what he can do. The boy can play on the outside, can play on the inside. In terms of his decision making, very smart as well. He's a dribbler, he's a match winner. Today, maybe not one of his best games, but obviously, I believe that the Orlando Pirates, as they progress, within matches, I think they will find the right rhythm, the right systems in terms of how they want to break the opponent. Another thing is the midfield. Interested to see the new look midfield, the Orlando Pirates. Why? For me, when you watch the game, the first thing you identify from Orlando Pirates is they want to attack with speed. But another thing is control, something that we've been fighting for. Undulu's Getlile, as a 6, doesn't panic, can pass with both feet. Lavi passing range. Umbule brings in the arrogance. Red carpet pass. But also he understands what it means to play for Orlando Pirates. Ufite in like a glove. I think he's also going to bring the best out of Utito Maswanganyi. Because not all the time Utito must drop deeper. But also what was new in that new look Orlando Pirates midfield was they don't play a 2-1. They now play a 3 in midfield. You understand? Umbule was on the left-hand side, Tito was on the right-hand side. But now I want to see variation in terms of when they are under pressure. Umbule at least ubanika that element that every time when they have the ball, the detail says the team needs to be in front of the ball. Because there's no point in the game where I see Nama pass ball to the centre back. I haven't seen Unduli, maybe later at the end of the game where he was under pressure, Seba change the new look midfield where he would feed the ball to the centre back. But every time Orlando Pirates my petty ball, Abos busy. They are relaxed on the ball. They are just focusing on...
They don't have to hit 30-yard passes.
They don't have that responsibility.
That's the most important detail. Last season, Sesane would hit the ball 30 yards diagonal. They don't. You used to call them long passes. You even gave it a
deep
name.
Pass. Deep pass.
It's a deep pass. You have to give it an excuse of a name.
Yeah.
The defenders don't have to do that. Their job now is just to defend.
Yeah. The 2 things that I'm hoping that it improves in duration of the season is the 2 midfielders and the striker. Why? For me, not the 2 midfielders. Let me correct myself. The 2 fullbacks. For me, big clubs, more especially we've seen the style of play a little bit, the model. It's a short passing game with a lot of transition, with a lot of speed. Right, Mr. Nkeo? But now you need fullbacks that can play like midfielders. Because fullbacks that can play like midfielders. Why? When you're always playing under pressure and you're playing in transition, you need a midfielder that firstly, fullbacks that can play on the second ball. Midfielders that know how to progress the ball. Uhoto is the only one in the team that was going to put the Orlando Pirates under pressure. People might not see it. Who receive a ball one and then he plays a negative pass straight to the goalkeeper.
He probably is the only one who can't play football from this team. It's such an improvement of a team. Him and Shandu, but Shandu K is not bad on the ball. I think Hoto is the only one. If you think about everyone there, even Osbisi, from what he was at Golden Arrows, has improved so much on the ball that maybe Hoto is the only one, and maybe Apolis is a different type of profile. But Hoto is the only one who is uncomfortable. I think I need to ask you this, which is very important. we wanted to know what we were going to see with Maswanganyi as well.
Yeah.
Because the assumption was that he's going to be a 10. And I think that he's now being integrated into be a part of the midfield. Is that a good thing, or would you have rather seen him closer to Uradiopane, not close to the midfielders as well?
I think one of his best qualities with Tito is exactly the red carpet pass, knowing how to break a defense that are rigid structures, because he doesn't play, he's not a system player. He's an individual brilliance player with Tito. So if you bring him closer to the box, you are allowing him to use his creativity. Give him the freedom as well. Give him the freedom to use his own brain, his own creativity, his own quality as a football player. But also, I think the thinking of the coach is, I will use Uhoto for a variation in terms of the left-hand side, bring in Urile to play a double position, meaning sometimes he's on the wide, sometimes he's in midfield. There's a point where we've seen him play as an 8. So I think the variation there, then it needs time. I think that's the right way to do it. I think it needs time. Gelling, training together, rondos, having the feel as football players as well. To know that Tito Magale, I know that Tito's on Buisange one touch, or Tito's on 10. Will he receive? There's little things that in football they're important, Mr. Nkeo, like a positive touch, a negative touch. What happens when I receive negative? When I receive a negative, when I receive positive, that means I want to progress play. Those things come when you train, when you play together, is Katesita. But for me, I believe that we're still going to see changes. I think it's the first game here, Orlando Pirates. I think the midfield look will also change. I think there will be games where they bring in maybe a hard runner in midfield. Maybe not a progressive midfielder, maybe a centre back.
Pretending to be a midfielder.
You put it that way. Yeah. But I think that's exactly the option. And then maybe you will see Tito on the bench or you will see Mbuli. But in games like Polokwane, Chipa, I think that's the variation. For me, I also feel like I need to motivate Urile. I think this system can bring out the best in Urile because he also feels like, I feel like he's dropping too deep. I think what Apolis did in that goal after red carpet Ganduli is to whip it around. I feel that Urile every time when he's playing on the side, receive a weaker foot and then has to take another touch. For me, it delays his game. He doesn't only need that quality in the box. He can use it outside the box. I'll receive it outside the box and use the defender to whip it. You understand, Mr. Go? Also, he's a 21-year-old. Every football player has an opportunity to improve. Yeah. I think that this is an opportunity. I mean, I see this as a challenge. I mean, I love a challenge as a person. I think Urile, for me, if he needs to prove that he's the player that he is, I think he can take this as a challenge.
Here's the problem that I have, and I'm always going to protect that kid until there's nothing to protect, is that I don't think anyone would have asked Lionel Messi because Barcelona is signing Henry. Yeah. Messi, you need to improve and whatever. You know what you got from Orele Mofokeng. Yeah. He was the second best player in the country. The worst thing you can do is to change what works for him. Yeah. And I think today we kind of saw that. Yes, Apollo scored that goal on the left-hand side, but that's not his space. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're going to take someone who scored, 8 goals, 7 assists, whatever it is, but it was one of the best players in the country, what you are doing is you are negatively affecting him with a player that you're gambling with. Apollo is a good player, but you don't know what he can give you. You already know with Urile, he was one of your best players. So let him have carte blanche on the left-hand side. Mm-hmm. Let him do what he did last season on the left-hand side. Don't create any confusion about whether or not... Because at some point, actually, in this game, he had to go to the right-hand side early on, if you remember. He went to the right-hand side because they were switching. Do not switch. Ask Apollo Suguti. You are the one we bought. We already know what we get from Orele Mofokeng. He was a young player of the season 2 times in a row. Mm-hmm. So that means we know what he can give us. But the worst thing you can do is to ask for Mofokeng to improve. Yes, of course, naturally he's going to improve because all players have to improve. But it's not like he's auditioning. Yeah. What is he auditioning for? He's already the star.
But Mr. I believe that Maola Zipola is star. The boy, there's certain things that he can work on in his game. For sure. And for me, I genuinely believe that the boy is one of the players we have in the country. And then those are the players that you can gamble with and put them in an uncomfortable position. Because Apolis is new. You cannot sacrifice Apolis and say, hey, play the most uncomfortable one. And also, Apolis, he proved himself. I like the fact that...
So if I was using you as Lindo, sorry to cut you, and you got a semi-final of a Champions League, and you got us number 2 of a league, Betway Premiership, and you were the second best player in the league, why would I have to sacrifice that? It's like if you have a striker that scores 20 goals, now I sign a new striker that I don't know how many goals he's going to score. Why would I sacrifice the thing I already know works?
I don't think it's a sacrifice, Mr. Nkeo. I think it was a decision of saying we need to play the best players on the pitch. And Apolis is one of the...
And you know Guturile is the best player.
He's the best player.
For the team, period.
But I think when you are setting up a team, if we are setting up a team, we know that Rile's got the quality. Maybe we can use him and play him in an uncomfortable position. And put put the new one in the more comfortable position so
But
that
we
he can
already
thrive.
know on the left
Yes.
we have 10 goals, 10 assists.
But it's
For
the first game.
So as
It
we are
might change.
as we are
Yeah.
chasing the league, we're chasing big things.
Yeah.
We know on the left we're sorted. Like there's nothing that needs to change. It's also disrespectful to that player who's proven it.
Yeah.
The one who's still new must prove himself. He must go to the right.
You know what I think? There's two ways to this. Maybe certain players need to prove themselves. But my thinking is I'm trying to put myself in the coach's shoes to say,
Sure.
if I'm setting up a lineup and I've got two wingers, I need to play these wingers. The one that I would play in an uncomfortable position is the one that understands the club, understand what is expected of him, and the belief that I have in him as a coach is that he can add a variety in his game. I know that he can play as a 10. And then I play the new one in the most comfortable position so that he can gel into the team. But now I don't expect him to do this every game. That's now the difference.
There are not enough matches when you're fighting against Sundowns
Yeah.
to mess around with. There are no, you cannot sacrifice 5 matches in a league season
100%, yeah.
against a big Sundowns. So I get your point
Yeah.
actually that because the most adaptable player is Mofokeng. He can
Yes.
play number 10, he
Yeah.
can play left wing. But if he worked as a second best player in the season, last season, then let him play there. But we'll see it as it unfolds.
Yeah, for sure.
We need to wrap up. What did Pirates tell you today about who they're going to be in the league? What did they tell you today about? It told So that they're going to win the league. That's what it told So Vilakazi. What did Pirates tell you today about who they are going to be in Africa, who are they going to be in South Africa?
Yeah, Mr. Ngeo, for me, already, continuation from last season. Exciting team. But the one thing that I want from the coach, personally, what I've seen in this fake game, they can't drop points. They need to win games they need to win. But what I've seen from the coach is that when Zama subs, they drop the game. Secondly, is Pirates needs to play in the same rhythm in every action. I need players to enjoy certain actions in the game. And for me, that's the difference between them and the team that wins the league, is that the team that wins the league keeps the same momentum. They need a security goal as well. That's another thing that they need to learn. If Polokwane had scored 2-1, they were going to play under pressure now. So those are the dynamics that they need to learn. They started the first half
But
well.
in relation to Africa,
Yeah.
did this team tell you that they're going to be another top 4 team in Africa?
100%.
In relation to South Africa, did this team tell you that they're going to be title contenders or
100%.
league winners?
They're going to be title contenders. I think that group of players, they're going to cause a lot of teams problems in the Champions League. I wouldn't be surprised if they genuinely go to the final or win the thing, because the style and how the team is set up, a lot of individual brilliance. And in Africa, sometimes it's individual brilliance, because we know that we play against teams that play with rigid structures. Cup competitions, Orlando Pirates will always do well, because firstly, it's Scotini. Orlando Pirates fans love cup competitions. They've got the squad, they've got the quality and the individual brilliance to play cup competitions. A league sometimes needs a system. It needs a reference. How did we win the last game? Reference. This is how we want to break them. Study the opponent. We want to break them on the right. We want to break. Sometimes cup competition don't need that. It's about intuition. It's about individual brilliance. It's about what you see on the game. It's about luck as well. And I believe that Orlando Pirates have those players.
All right, there you go. Thank you so much. Orlando Pirates told us a lot of things today. Maybe one of them is that they will be contenders based on the new midfield that's improved them. Of course, it's August. There will be the next month. There will be September. There will be October. At some point in December, we'll get a full picture of who's the pretender, who's the contender. Unfortunately, they're fighting against a team that's won it 8 times in a row. They know how to win it. But fortunately for Orlando Pirates, they were number 2 last season, and they are now looking for continuity. The problem is that you don't have 5 matches at the beginning of the season to figure things out, because you drop points there. Pirates won 7 matches last season at the beginning. You see how good they were, but they still lost the league maybe by 12 points to the team that always wins the league. So you don't mess around. Keep your best players. They needed to improve in the midfield. They have one of the best midfield composition now. That's a matter of consistency. iDiskiTV, iDiski Times, we're suspecting.
Boom.
For breaking news, go to iDiskiTimes.co.za.
Shapunjan bafowethu igama lami Lindo Pep, the best analyst in the country. Please don't forget to subscribe to iDiskiTV. Tanko.
This is Bongane Benedict Vilakazi, they call me so. Niyazi bafethu, amakhosi for life, they are back in winning ways. Please, siyacela ukuthi subscribe iDiskiTV.